All right. Part 7 of how I got tricked in the name of faith. I think this is part 7. So I left off with my dad telling me, yeah, they got a website, but the website ain't legit. Basically, that's what it was. And so at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Let me just start digging for myself because apparently I can't just go off of my resources thinking they reliable. I need to know for myself. So I started looking up specifically for complaints dealing with this company, the Redstone Mobility. And the first place I start is the BBB. Sure enough, they are not accredited with the BBB, but that does not mean that you can't have complaints. And they had a complaint. They had a complaint. And guess what the complaint was? It was something similar. It was the complaint was from January, I think, January or February of this year. And it was like dealing with the same thing. A woman had been told she had won a vehicle and they wanted all this money. I think she was located either in the same city of Atlanta or nearby, and they wouldn't let her supposedly come and get it. They didn't have a legit address. It was crazy, and they wanted her to send all this money. And the sad part is, like for me, I'm wanting the vehicle for my son. He's the disabled party over here that needs the accessible vehicle. The reason why. But for her, she was the reason why. She was the one herself. And I was just like, oh my gosh. This just like broke my heart that to find out like they're out there really scamming people. And so I called my dad back, and I was telling him that I did find a complaint on the BBB. And he was like, you know what? When I looked it up, your mom told me to check the complaints. Oh, wait, man, y'all. Mm-mm-mm. And he was just like, yeah, I just saw they want to credit it, and I just left it alone. But your mama did. She told me to check the complaints. And I was like, oh my gosh. So me, when I'm hearing him say he checked the BBB and didn't find nothing, even though they're not accredited, I'm thinking, okay, that's good. Baby, they had a whole D minus rating on the BBB. D minus. A D minus. Do you know how close to an F that is? How much lower can you get? How much lower? I was like, Dad, like, this is why I said if I had known all the information that my dad knew in his head, I would not have even given them that money. I would not have even given them the time of day. Like when I would have received that winning letter, notification, whatever you want to call it, I probably would just not have even believed that at that point. So, anyways, so I saw that, and yeah, I, I really did. I thought my dad had did his due diligence, but like everything that he had just started to tell me, it would have given me pause up front. You know what I'm saying? It's basically what I'm saying. And again, I am not faulting my pops for me sending over the money. That was my actions. But I sure wish I would have known then the things that I know now. Nevertheless, this is where I'm at. So, on their website, I think it was on their website, or there was another website. I can't remember if it was their website, and anyways, there was on another website, I would say, and I found like 7 more complaints, and they all were very similar in that they were just trying to give money. Their address is not legit, and or that they were using other photos from different sites, and they were talking about on their Facebook page. And when I went to their Facebook page, I said, let me just take a look. And so I was just looking at the background of all their photos. None of them did match. They did not. Like, none of the pictures were taken in the same places. So it was like they were just probably stealing photos off another website, because one of them said they had zoomed in on a picture and it said Mobility Works, which is another great wheelchair accessible van dealership out there. They're very well known. And so they said they actually took the time to call them and was like, hey, do y'all know this company? Are y'all working with them? And they was just like, no, we don't know them. We have no affiliation with them. So they were stealing their photos and putting it on their website. So yeah, so I saw, like I said, it was like 7 more of that. So fast forward now, we're on that Tuesday. So my dad is going down to Atlanta, right? And the plan is for him to get down there, even though they said he had to have a reservation. The plan is for him to get down there and say he's there to look at that 2017. So we just want to see what they're going to say. And I said, they're probably going to ignore you, Dad. They're probably not going to respond to you. So his plan was to just say, he's there in front of the building. So mind you, at this time, y'all, I also, because I've heard so many things now in these different complaints about issues with the address, I look up their address. And the address that I had is like this big warehouse type of thing. I did Google it. It says it's a distribution center for different companies. Because all I saw on the outside, and I did like a 3D pic, all I saw were like rigs, not like a parking lot, a car lot, or anything like that. And so, but they gave my dad a totally different address when they were telling him to make a reservation and that he can come then. So I said, well, Dad, what address did they give you? And again, it was a different one. So I looked the address up that they gave my dad. And this one is a little bitty old building. Again, no car lot. This one does not even have the room to have a car lot. And it was just like some old pickup truck sitting outside. And then when you Google that address, that whole building is up for sale. So yeah, so the plan was for my dad, he wasn't going to really go to the building, because at this point we know that, at this point now we know for sure these people are just scammers. But we would just wanted to see what they were going to say. So the thing was, he was going to get down there and send them a picture, the picture that I had, since I was able to do 3D photos of the buildings, and tell them he was out in front of the building to see what they're going to say, if they want to let him come in and actually view the truck, the 2017, the one I wanted to buy. And he did that, and of course they ignored him. He has not had any more contact with them, I think, since that Monday. And then, so for me, when that Tuesday came, they also started to ignore me. I tried to call both numbers, the number that I had been communicating with Ryan on, and then the number that they gave me for the cashier. And so I tried to call, And at first, I called them from my Google voice number. And then I was just like, you know what? Why am I hiding? I have nothing to hide from. I didn't do anything wrong. So I started calling them from my regular number. And again, still no answer. I'll be back.